Okay, previously in the GodBreaking, our heroes found themselves in the underwater city of Lumos, down deep beneath the ocean surface, actually on the floor, I guess on the ocean floor, in the plane, the eternal plane of Lunaria, which is the first of the 7 planes in Mount Celestia, the dwelling place of the gods. And there, you guys found the remnants, or what was left of a sprawling underwater civilization, the Merfolk, essentially, divided into 3 major kingdoms: the Kingdom of Lumos, the Kingdom of Otalan, and the Kingdom of Anwen. When you arrived, though, you learned that that Lumos was mostly untouched, being the furthest out from the central point of the invasion. Votalan lost the majority of its army, but they are still a very strong military might, and the kingdom of Anwen was decimated, not heard from at all. You infiltrated the city, made friends with some people, and found yourselves in the middle of a political game beneath the ocean waves. Here, Queen Delvinia holds court, and she, especially according to some of her subjects, namely one General Roman, is flighty, naive, and only interested in self-fancy, things that will delight her, and things that she deems to be fashionable. She is the holder, as the Queen of Lumos, of one of the Tide Shards, and General Roman had named himself one of her suitors, seeking her hand in marriage. He seeks to bring order and organization and purpose and actually efficiency to the city. You guys also found that she had a couple other suitors, namely one being Depth Lord Lamprax. He is the ruler of Votalan. They've become mostly, for the greater part, nomadic, as much of their country was destroyed. They do have a few small strongholds left, and what remains of their standing army. He also has a Tide Shard, and he seeks to unify, to join the two houses together for the preservation of the merfolk beneath the waves. He also is pretty aggressive and straightforward in his thinking. And then you guys also learned of Sub-Prince Oricus, who is the lord of a smaller, basically subdomain to Lumos, one of the outskirts, the smaller regions. He basically just wants to seek the queen's hand in order to solidify the power of his house, and also to try to do good and bring peace beneath the waves. You guys, so last week during the gala, the grand ball that Queen Delvinia throws every night, you convinced General Roman, at least for 12 days, that Elwyn was the best option for his people's survival. Elwyn, you portray yourself as a god and the savior of the merfolk, the deliverer of peace, and the defeater of devils. So General Roman pledged himself to your cause. And Queen Delvinia, she kind of basically arbitrarily declares games in which her suitors must compete to win her favor. And Elwyn, you won 2 of them, I think. You won the game of the most nimble hands, and also, what was the other one? I forget.
The chimichangas and the tequila.
Yeah, the best gift, I think it was, or something. Anyway, while the ball is going on, Deimos, you somehow found yourself in possession of Lamprey, who is one of Depth Lord Lamprax's younger sisters.
I don't think so.
And she swears herself to your service. forever taking an oath that anything you desire and you want is also what she desires and she wants. Willing to serve you in every respect, much to the chagrin of your betrothed, Jivarishi.
I just think we should go to the next place in the mountain.
So that's kind of where you are. Both these females are kind of like vying for your attention. And Tempest is passed out on the ground, having imbibed too much alcohol. Renly, you were just hanging out, and Adis, you discovered an invading force of these Depatians, these crab-like, crustacean-like creatures coming in from the trenches. The alarm was sounded as scouts reported their coming. The Depatian army is about, the better almost 2 days march away. And Queen Delvinia, using her Tide Shard, declared that the next game for her suitors to compete in is to compete for as a show of strength. The one who can bring back the most Depatian heads in a set amount of time would be the winner. And that is where we left off last week. Okay, so a large floating terrace just arises from behind the city, and Delvinia calls all of her people and basically gives commands for the party to be moved to her floating terrace, as the whole lot of you will be going out to observe the battle. So the bulk of the army is 2 days travel away. She declares that the games will last 4 hours. That whoever brings back the most Depatian heads within a 4-hour period will be the victor. And the rule is that no she declares that no one can help. You guys the 3 suitors have to go on their own. Okay. So the floating terrace basically starts moving out into the sea towards the southwest, and it doesn't move very quickly. But all along it, there are large crystalline bubble-type barriers around it, and you can tell that these things are it's like a viewing gallery. The shape of the bubbles are magnifiers and stuff like that. So through them and the careful alignment of them, there's a lot of servants and smaller fish-like merfolk going around tuning the shape and the refraction rate and the angles of a lot of these lenses, even placing some of them in front of each other to increase magnification, so that the large viewing area can see, basically looking into this large glass window. They line it up so they're able to see a great distance into the water. So over the course of the next 15-20 minutes, the terrace starts moving out. And Queen Delvinia says, "Well then, let the games begin. We are ready." And she kind of rings a little.
Too big to fit on it.
Yeah, you'd be too big to fit on it in your current size.
I just walk along.
Okay. She chimes a little bell to mark the beginning of the 4 hours. At that, Depth Lord Lamprax, you see him kind of crunch, like flex his fists, and he breathes in, right? And as he does, you can see his scales and his body begin to shift and realign as his hardened, like carapace-like shell begins to take a different shape. It doesn't take very long, just a few seconds, but he realigns his own physiology into a much more streamlined and water what do you call it? Aerodynamic, almost aquadynamic shape. And with a few flicks of his tail, he begins to dart off at a great speed in the direction of the Depatian army.
You said they're 2 days away, right?
By March, yeah. Yeah.
So, let's see, I might be not understanding. So we're starting right now, but they're 2 days away.
Mm-hmm.
The crabs will take 2 days to walk here, because they're slow.
Yeah, they're pretty slow. Okay.
Because they're not swimming, they're walking on the bottom of the ocean.
Correct. Sub Prince Oricus, he just begins to swim off in that direction. You can see he's pretty graceful under the water. He's not as fast, anywhere near as fast as Deathlord Lamprax, but he's swimming at the greatest speed he can. He takes out his trident and activates a few runes on it, and you can see some arcane casting going on as he moves forward, and the thing basically becomes a propellant. He holds it out in front of him and begins to speed him along the water. He begins to accelerate gradually, faster and faster and faster through the water, streaming streaks of light behind him.
Okay, so when I saw the one dude, the first guy, take off super fast, we know exactly where they're at. We know where we gotta go, right?
Correct.
Okay. About how long do I think it's gonna take him to get there?
At the speed he's going, about an hour.
Shit.
Hey, Elwin, how many of them do you think you can kill in an hour?
Oh, a shit ton, but
Okay, I'll gate Elwin there.
wait, before you.
You guys can't teleport or create portals and stuff in this plane.
Really?
Yeah.
Except for me, I feel out for the strings that lead in that direction, like this. You know the way that you describe the strings of communication. I start feeling 4-1.
Okay, so
I feel like you got very familiar with them thanks to a certain somebody and all the pleasure she gave you. So that would help.
Okay, so you're trying to reach out for these tendrils that kind of span, these information tendrils that are extended everywhere, right?
Correct.
All right. Roll a d20 to see if there are any in the immediate area that you can take advantage of. Okay, you're looking around. But the last time you saw them, the only time you saw them was in an act of desperation. I think he even sparked a teleport or something like that. You guys were all about to die. Right now, you're just kind of gazing around, and you just see ocean water and stuff around you.
Okay. I'm looking through my stuff. For now, I'm gonna start heading in that direction while I think about how to get there faster.
Okay, so you start swimming.
So how many like, what do we think their like movement speed would be? I guess like their base moving speed.
The crabs?
Like how we would run on land. Yeah, no, like the like Lamprax dude. So like 100 feet per round, or
yeah, he's streaming off very quickly. Probably on the order of 120 feet per round.
You want to go that fast, Elwin?
Normal. With dashing, he can go double.
Oh, I can get him twice that fast.
Aaron, do you need your steed? You can ride atop your Deimos. I am also his mobility device.
Your swim speed's half your movement speed, Dennis.
Can they help me?
I can still do that. I'll be fine.
We just can't help you fight, right?
Are you asking Delvinia? Are you asking?
Yes.
Who are you asking?
I'm not asking. I'm asking Elwin if he wants. I think Elwin's asking you as the DM.
Yeah.
So here, Queen Delvinia is just sitting around there waiting. She says, for a surface dweller, you don't seem very concerned, not moving very quickly. Your competitors have quite the lead on you.
Yes.
Perhaps it's because you wish to spend more time with me in my presence alone. I can't say I don't appreciate the strategy.
Well, you see, while those fools rush ahead, instead of working hard, I like to work smart. And what you don't know, what they don't know, is that I have some things up my sleeves, and I can enjoy this few moments here in your presence a little bit longer. There's no worry. Adis, I think it's time that I get going.
Alright, I'll haste him and turn him into a Leviathan.
Okay. She smiles a little bit. Just
He'll have like somewhere in the order of like 300 movement or something like that. I think I can't remember what the Leviathan's is.
One thing I would appreciate, before you turn me into one, Deimos,
Mhm.
I think it's time to shield up and get me some spell slots back.
Very acceptable. I will give him his spell slots back. I'm sure it won't be
Okay.
them all
Oh,
back.
and
by the time it's gonna go
Elwin,
in.
I have to drop it at 59 minutes or it'll stay permanent and you won't be able to get out of it.
Okay, so let's calculate how long it'll take me to get there, because if I'm a Leviathan form, I'm not going to be able to blast.
Yeah. Also, I'm gonna stick a few things on you as I'm like, oh no, letting you go
Wait a minute,
away.
wait. Oh wait, they have little things that are giving them a view of the battlefield, aren't they?
yes.
Is there any around us right now?
Yeah. I mean, are you in big form? You can't see them, but the people inside the floating terrace can.
Oh, they're just inside the terrace. I thought you were saying they were floating around out.
Yeah, they're part of the terrace.
How long does
Okay.
that last, Deimos?
This lasts for an hour. I figure you might get there a little bit before an hour.
Okay. So with the spell slots, I should probably get all of them back, right?
Yep.
How many? So Deimos, go ahead and roll spell slots. You can burn your shield.
Oh.
Oh, look at these. Oh, there you go. There's a roll. I was gonna say.
You have them all.
All right. You have 31 spell slots. You get one more roll, Deimos. There you go. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All
Okay,
the
so
spell slots.
1 9, 1 7, 3 3s, 2 2s, and 2 1s.
Yeah, that's all of them. Easy.
Okay, and hold on. How many in total? That way I can
So-
get. Hold on. So that was 9, 16, 19, 22, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, that was just 30.
He gave you
So,
50. So.
Oh, 50? Okay. So at that point, then I'm just gonna burn. So I used 32 to get all the spell slots I've used.
Mhm.
So I have how many left?
18.
Oh, perfect. I'll use them to get my sorcery points back.
Okay.
Alright, Elwin. For the first minute that you're going, your speed will be 480 feet per round with a dash.
I give you a pamphlet.
After that, it'll drop down to 240 a round, and you'll have to chill for 6 seconds at the end of that first minute, and then you can go.
Okay, so that's hasting, right? Okay.
Yeah. Because Leviathan's base swim is 120, so haste makes it 240, dashing 480.
Then
Okay.
I marked it off, but I gave you a little pamphlet if you want it. This
Bro.
pamphlet has a symbol of Tempest and you high-fiving, and it has the word stunned on it. It's a stunning pamphlet.
Is there anything
All right.
else I can
If
do
I had
for you?
underwear, I would keep it there, but I'm not wearing any, so I just put it in my pocket.
So as you guys are doing that, you're basically buffing Elwin up. I'm taking a few minutes to buff him up. Elwin, you feel a sudden tingle go up your left leg, right, and just like goes up, straight up your left leg, and and up your spine, and right to the base of your neck, and it's very what do you call it? Very soothing. Gilly says, Gilly gives small bit of pleasure before Elwin goes into battle. Hope Elwin Fire God not die.
Gelly, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Delvinia
Okay.
raises an eyebrow. She says, you like pleasure for my species, I see.
Shh, it has been more than adequate.
She says, win my hand by defeating the other suitors in our contests, and perhaps more pleasure than you know what to do with will be yours.
I think that's impossible, but I think you have good effort.
I say, I step away from the platform a little bit while I swim away, and then I say, "It's morphin' time." I look at Adis.
Okay,
Alright,
you
I'll
pimp
turn
out
into
into
a
a
Leviathan.
massive Leviathan, and you burst off with a blaze of speed. The crowd oohs and ahs as you speed off into that direction. Some time goes by. You make it in 45 minutes. You get there, say 10 minutes ahead of General Lamprax or Depth Lord Lamprax.
Deep throat lab rat.
Yeah.
Two shipwrecks.
Okay. So again, you see a very large. You pull up. You slow down along the way. You have 15 minutes left of your Leviathan form. And you see a large army of these Depation-like creatures, and not less an army, and more like just a horde just shambling in the direction of Lumos. Okay,
All right.
thousands and thousands of them.
Since I got there a little bit early, and I'm still in Leviathan form and pretty speedy through the water, I'd like to see if they're crawling like on the ocean floor or if they're swimming.
Okay. The vast majority of them are crawling on the floor. So these guys, there's the ones I'm showing you here now are Depation crawlers basically. There's thousands of them, and they kind of move along the floor. They have 8 legs, 4 of which are the ones you see on their shoulders, and 4 that they crawl along the ground on. Then you see several that are, well, along with those, are the large ones. One of which you saw in the Queen's party. These Lurgos, these Depassion Lurgos is what they're called, right? Massive things. Most of them bigger than the ones that you saw at the Queen's party. You get the feeling that the one at the Queen's party was a young one. Okay, these things are gargantuan, and they move with hulking steps. Their footsteps shuddering the ocean floor. A couple other species that you see a few of these, and they're swimming above the rest of them, and you see more of these guys. Not quite as many as the crawlers, but say in the maybe 1,000 total, flying above or swimming above the surface of the army. Okay.
Alrighty.
And then this guy is out of. You don't readily see this guy. He's far in the back. Right.
Okay.
So, what do you want to do?
So I want to start off with, since I still have some time in my Leviathan form, I want to go to the guys that are kind of swimming.
Okay.
And I want to create my big super wall of water and try to push them as far back as I can, while to kind of gather them up together.
All right. Wall of water.
For the Leviathan, I think they can summon like a tsunami or some shit.
Yeah, they have tsunami.
Okay.
Or tidal wave. Yeah, here, just so I go look it up for you.
That's fine.
I don't
so
remember.
You get there. So I mean, like, if here's right. So let's say an overhead view, right? If you're here, right, the army's starting to come in your direction. The front edge of the line of crawlers on the ground is coming like this, right? So all back here is crawlers. Above them or among them, you see the occasional large gargantuan like these largos, right? And then above them, you see a swarm kind of the swimming ones in the water above, right? And then occasionally throughout, you see specks of, you see the occasional of ones of the blue ones that I showed you on the map. You know, handfuls of them, little pockets of them. Okay, so if you're just gonna swim up to them and begin and cast a tidal wave, you're gonna be in range of the entire army.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait until the last second where I'm gonna shift back into Elwyn, and I'm gonna do the tidal wave at that point, and then I shift back into Elwyn, and as a bonus action, I want to use my lightning powers to empower the wave with lightning, and see what happens. I'll spark it.
Okay. So what's the range on the Leviathans?
I have no idea.
Let's find it.
It's in one of the 5e books. I don't have it, and I can't find a full stat sheet online for the actual Leviathan.
Renly, where did you get that stat sheet?
Which stat sheet?
Leviathan?
Do you have Mordecai's?
That one was the.
Oh, here, I found it.
Put it in the Discord thingy. I think I gotten it from the book, Tome of Peace, maybe, or was it the other?
I think it's Mordecai.
Oh, it could be Mordecai. Yeah.
Mordecai's Tome of Foes.
Here, I got it. Let me see if I can copy paste. Yeah, I can. So it's 250 feet long, 250 feet high, and 50 feet thick. Wall appears. It's I thought it was like a tidal, like a tsunami kind of thing, but I guess it's just a wave of water that appears. Here,
The walls are 250 feet long, 250 feet high, and 50 feet thick. When a wall appears, all other creatures within its area must make a save. It moves 50 feet away from the Leviathan at the start of each of the Leviathan's turns.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You know what? If it's gonna be too much trouble, then screw the tidal wave. I'll just wait
That's
till
fine.
I Elwyn.
You can do it. So you create a tidal wave?
Yeah.
Alright. So 250 feet long, so it's pretty large, but according to for the size of the army, let's say it's that big on the map. Alright.
Okay. Yeah, let's start off with that.
Okay. You wait a little while until the army gets closer, and then they start you're floating there, and you're this sea creature, and in that form, they pay you no mind. While you're in a sea creature's form, basically. Okay. So they just continue to crawl, and you're floating in the waves above them, and they just allow you to move closer and closer. And then at the last second, so let's say you're right here, you summon up the tidal wave, and a huge surge of force blasts out from ahead of you. Alright? So I'll put you here. What else do you do?
I am going to use my lightning staff to unleash an enhanced lightning bolt. And I want to spark this so that I can control, even instead of getting like the bonus damage on it, or however you want to do this, that I can manifest the lightning bolt to kind of spread out throughout the whole wave and be like a lightning wave of water.
Alright, so roll the damage for it.
This one was this.
Okay. That's a really big spell.
And
Oh, that was from your staff?
yeah, let me make sure 6 spell slots. Okay, so we'll do 2, 2, 2. Okay. And here's the spark.
Okay.
Alright, what happens?
Alright, let's see. So the wave travels 50 feet away from the Leviathan per turn. At the end of each turn, the wall is reduced by 50 feet, and damage reduces. So, it can move for 5 turns, basically. So, the wall gets... Let's say you start at the last second, so the wall gets that far in. Okay? You basically carve out a chunk like this size of a tidal wave into the face of the army, and you empower it with this lightning force, and you surge it forward. You can see it's like the it's like the finger of God just comes down and just blazes as you summon up all your powers, and then you awaken. You activate your awakening, and seeing the weave itself, you grab a hold of the threads of the weave, and infuse them with your arcane power, uniting them with your spell, amplifying its ability, and surging forth this tidal wave of death in the direction of the army. You see these scores and scores of these crawlers. Let's see which one. Yeah, these crawlers get caught up in the waves. Some of them try to move out of the way, but there's not much they can do. A few of the flying ones get caught up in the early surge of it, but for the most part, the tidal wave moves along the surface of the ocean floor. Back at the gallery, back at the viewing terrace, the rest of you guys can see through the viewing lenses. As Elwyn just floating there in Leviathan form, blasts for this tidal wall, and then shifts into his human form, his elven form, and empowers it with lightning. And there's a huge cheer from the crowd and gasps from the audience at this display of power, as this wall of death surges forward and rips through the army. So for you, Elwyn, roll 3d100. Oh wow. Oh wow. Look at those highly above average rolls. 181, 265. You killed 265 Depatians. Incinerated or electrified to death in this oncoming maelstrom of lightning and water. The front edge of the army collapses in on itself as these creatures have basically are shocked and appalled by it. Needless to say, you can have their complete attention now. All right.
Good, because that wasn't even my final form. I don't know how this is gonna work underwater though. I'm gonna have to spark this. Let me know when I'm up again.
Okay, so as that happens, you carve out this big chunk from the army. You see all around you these where is it? Dozens of these things surge towards you, very quick through the water, moving easily as fast as you did when you were in full-on Leviathan dashing form. Speeding towards you. Streams of them come at you from various directions. So a few dozen of them.
Okay,
the leading edge ones from the army come surging
when
at you.
When they're about 35-ish feet away from me,
Okay.
I'm gonna bubble up so they can just fly straight into my electric bubble.
Okay. At the same time, you see a few of these. Their claws begin to emit a bluish light, and then you can see crackling little bits of of arcane power just rippling along their forms, and then from their less dominant eyes, not the ones that are on the eye stalks, waves and spirals of bluish light come streaming towards you as well. Okay, so these waves of light move faster than the streaming in Dipations do. So let's say three of these waves come in.
I'll time it. So my shield goes up right before the blasts get to it, so they can actually pass through my Tesla fraction.
Okay, so here's your Tesla fraction. You put it up, and the impacts of those energy attacks hit it. Let me just real quick check what the wording of your Tesla fraction was.
I linked it.
Any energy attacks passing through the orbit have their damage reduced by 50%. Okay.
I'm blurred too if it's an attack roll.
So blur is disadvantage?
Yeah, I have the Cloak of Displacement on.
Okay. So 33 and 34 were the attack rolls. One missed, 33 and 34.
Yeah, those hit.
Okay. Alright. So that is that half? Did that work? Half? 5d12 plus 45, 10, 24, 33.
I think you have to target me.
Well, yeah, it should be half of that. So half of that additionally. So you're talking 36 and 39 and 42 damage as this thing hits you.
Oh shit! Yeah. There we go.
So it was a Constitution saving throw. Was that for your concentration?
Yeah. On the Tesla fraction.
Okay.
Hold on. So I had 30 temps.
Yeah, I gave you a little demo shield before you went off of good luck.
So 39. So that would be
39
9. And what it was?
42.
Yeah,
I
that's
added
that's
it.
good. Cool. Thanks.
Bro.
Alright.
Hey,
You're
Marcus,
yeah.
is my foot bigger than this thing that they're all floating on?
No. You could
It's
stand on
that
it. It's
big?
pretty large.
Okay.
Yeah, but you
How high off
tower.
the ground is it?
Right now, it's pretty high off the ground. You're talking in the order of 50 or 60 feet above the ground.
Oh, that's not that far. Okay. Just
Alright.
curious.
So, Elwin, the beams hit your Tesla fraction. Your Tesla fraction goes up in a surging display of electricity, and a much reduced. You can see the lightning kind of like shudder and deform as these beams hit them. So a vestige of the beams continues through, and two of them hit your body. I need you to make 2 Constitution saving throws. Okay, you're fine. And as you see that, as that happens, you can see through your Tesla fraction, these Depatian creatures lowering their claws into long spiked edges, and they come blasting at you, and then your shield goes up and they hit it. The first wave of them smashes into it. You can see them like frying and breaking apart into little bits of ash and shell fall through your Tesla fraction, but for the most part, these things are like flies in a fly zapper, crackling and sparking and blazing in the water. Half of them were too late. They smash into it. The other half break off and are able to slow themselves in time. So
Okay, how many?
you got another 18.
Cool. I'm keeping track.
Did
Okay.
we how many were supposed to be in this army? Like guesstimation.
In the army? Oh, thousands and
Yeah.
thousands.
Thousands, okay.
Can I see the queen?
Yes, you can.
Is she holding it?
Holding the crystal? No.
Mm-hmm. Where is it? Can I see it?
It's on her wrist.
Oh, it's like a piece of jewelry?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a jewel she held in her hand. Okay. Alright. Is Deimos near her?
Relatively close. I mean, you'll say within 25 feet of her.
Could I pluck him off of it so I could talk to him for a second?
Sure.
Well, I don't know how open this platform thing is. That's why I'm asking.
There's gaps in the crystalline wall around it, so you maneuver your hand in one of the larger ventilation openings, and everybody's able to pull him out.
I'll pluck him up. I'll be like, hey Deimos, do you think you could take her hand off at the wrist? In one hit?
Yeah, but why would I do that?
Because she's a psychotic bitch that fucked with our heads.
She
You
fucked
really,
with us.
you really want to let her get away with fucking with your head?
It's not cool. It's not
Oh,
cool.
come on, you're gonna steal her dildo. Don't give me that shit.
Hey, I didn't tell you that. You don't know about the dildo stealing. It's confidential.
Because I was standing there
I
when
own
the angel
person.
asked you to
I
do it.
lost a restoration in my hand to make it better. Spiritual weapon in my hand, and I slice her hand off. I gave it away.
Wait, you're gonna attack the queen?
I'm just joking. I don't just go up and just steal the shit out of shit.
No, but I'm seriously asking you if you think you could. But you would have to be able to do it in one hit.
Oh, I can, if you guess, if I charged up, I can guarantee I could break through most things.
Because we may need you to. Because if she can stop us all dead in her tracks just by ringing that little bell of hers, that's really fucking annoying.
Alright. I will go in operation stealthy Deimos mode.
Alright.
I will stay in the shadows, but if she fucks with this,
Yeah,
Deimos
be
will get-
ready.
I'm
Be
Batman.
ready. She fucks with our head
Batman.
again. That hand comes
Gotcha.
off. Got it?
I won't say exactly, but yes.
And I will stealth in there.
And I'll
No
plop
one
it back in.
sees Deimos.
They
Why do you have
definitely see
advantage on
Deimos
stealth?
crouching down. I definitely should not. I think Renly's
Is he still foresighted, Renly?
He is the scheme Dave still, so yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm kind of stealthy.
You see me like tumble off this hand everybody saw put in, and I like slowly sneak around some of the bigger people and stand
Oh,
next to the queen.
see, so
They barely even
Trying
see
to make
me
it
come.
look like he didn't mess up the tumble off the hand.
that totally explains why you're so irresistible to Givarisi. You've been foresighted this whole time.
That makes sense. Unforesight me now, so leave me alone.
I don't think it's concentration.
Oh shit.
I could dispel it if you
No,
like.
don't do that. I'm a ninja in disguise. They'll never see this big burly man hiding right here next to them
Okay.
in whitey tighties.
Yes, I will. I'll keep an eye on her.
Okay.
Midas,
Yeah.
given experience and arcane knowledge, and some experience with otherworldly powers and such, could I deduce with any level of certainty whether Mind Blank would protect someone from her shenanigans?
Link my blank real quick. Um, it's worth a shot.
Alright, I'll reach in there and I'll touch Deimos on the shoulder and mind blank him.
Mind blanks of shit right now.
Okay, so it lasts 24 hours.
Gross. Yeah.
I stare at the wall blankly.
In case he has to act, he needs at least some level of protection.
Okay. So this doesn't really negatively affect him. It just protects him from all those conditions and stuff.
Yeah, because it's very vague. Because it says it even foils wish spells or spells or effects of a similar power used to affect a target's mind, and since it technically affects a target mind, it's worth a shot, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It will do something.
I don't know if I've ever seen a situation where Mind Blank was actually useful, so let's say it's useful here.
It's the best anti-charm spell in the game, I think.
Okay. So, back out there. Oh, Renly, what are you doing? Are you doing anything special?
I was like, making popcorn, getting it ready, pouring tea,
That's
and
right.
just going to watch, cheering on Elvin because I trust in Elvin. I trust.
Okay, as they're doing that, Tempest is kind of like rousing himself from his unconscious pile on the floor.
You have a Galley, wasn't he?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But he had passed out. He had passed out from. What did he pass out from? Was he drunk?
I think
Yeah,
it
he
was
was super drunk.
the special weed changas plus
That's
the tequila.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He passed out on Deimos, who kept calling his name.
Yeah, and then Gelly was like giving him pleasure massages. So
Indeed.
okay, so he's kind of super groggy. He's very out of it. He kind of like sidles up to you and he just
Fixed Galley on him.
yeah. He like sits next to you. You're standing there. He sits down on the floor and leans his head on your shoulder. You're about the same height now that you're standing, and he's like sitting down and slumped over. And he says,
This is awesome.
he says, really, I swear I never do this. I'm usually a man of discipline, and I don't know what got into me.
I think it was Galley, but this is a good time to relax. Elvin's got this. Tea? Tea?
He says to you, he says, truth be told, he says, I don't know what to do. It's like when I'm with you guys, I feel like I'm under so much pressure. I mean, that guy, he keeps giving me these weird looks, and he keeps talking about me and drawing pictures. I think they're pictures of me. And like I'm walking one direction, and he'll get out of my way and give me like a half bow. And sometimes I swear he tries to smell me.
That's not true.
And I slowly put my locket of Tempest hair back in my whitey tighties.
Oh god.
He's like, Kelly, I don't know what to do. I got myself shit-faced because like it's just the kind of pressure I'm under right now is it's unbearable. What should I do? What should I do, Renly?
I feel like you should probably maybe just roll with it, and like how water goes off a duck's back, like just let it slide, baby, just let it roll, and like just keep going. It'll be fine because Deimos will just keep going like that, and then I watch Deimos go
He says, but he treats me not like, even like, I would say he treats me like a god, but like no one I know treats gods the way he treats gods. So it's
He's
almost
got
like
a condition.
it's like a spurned lover, kind of desperate and stalkerish.
He's your number one fan, which is why it gets so creepy. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I saw the movie Bodyguard, and the number one fan is not a good thing.
It isn't, is it? I mean, I saw clips of it on YouTube, and boy, that was creepy. But no, I agree with that completely.
Yeah, like the number one in that movie, like Whitney Houston's number one fan who was trying to like murder her and like fuck her dead body or something crazy like that. Is Deimos gonna try to do that to me?
No. And you could almost see the question marks above my head.
He's like, I see.
I would suggest you stay calm and drink tea. Oolong?
He says, he says, I think I need more booze.
Oh, I can get you some, yes. I think I've got most of the reserves.
He grabs a cup and he starts downing. He says, "The things I do to save the world," and he powers it back.
Yes, exactly. We all have our days, dear. Yes. Some more, and then I'll pour him another.
Okay. All right. Back out on the battlefield, Elwyn. So you're sitting in your Tesla fraction. A few more of these creatures. So the army has kind of moved on past you at this point, right? So the front edge of the army is like past you, and you're like slightly above the surface. They've gone around you basically. A few have tried to attack. Some more have thrust claws or spears or stuff inside, and to no avail. So they're kind of moving on around you. What else do you do?
Have the other dudes got here yet?
Yes, at this point, the Depth Lord is.
You got like 100. You got like 150 rounds before they get here, yo.
Alright, you got one more turn before they get here.
Okay. Looking all around me, these dudes are about to feel the pain. I don't know how we're gonna do this, but I'm gonna reach deep into the weave. I'm going to spark this, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reaching in, thinking how this is gonna work underwater.
Okay.
But the meteors I summon are in a pointy shape that are water dynamic. Yeah. The meteors are made out of like carved into shapes of big ass sharks, so they can glide through the water, cut through it.
Okay.
And so that's my 9th level. Let me just roll my spark. Yes.
All right. Okay.
And I will. Well, that's going to be my quicken action.
Okay.
And for my main action. No, actually, no. Yeah, that's just going to be my main action. And I'm going to stay in my bubble. That way, for now.
Okay.
Because my spell doesn't have to pass through it.
All right. So you cast Meteor Swarm at level 9, and you sparked it. A mile above the surface, 4 huge meteors impact the water, sending tidal waves all across the land. These things, with the speed that they were accelerating at, and the incredible surges of heat, begin to blast through the surface of the ocean as well, vaporizing water along the way. All the fish and stuff in the area are like fried. Whales get splattered across the surface of these things like bugs on the windshield of a car. They come hurtling down to the ocean depths. Go ahead and roll the damage. The fire damage is halved because a lot of the meteors have cooled on the way in.
Understandable. And I'm going to make sure to drop the meteors around, like here, one there, one there, around me, those 3 around me. And the other one, I'm going to drop it right in the center. That way I can give myself a way out that way.
Okay.
So I'm not in the middle of them anymore. Anyway, so here's the damage.
Times 3?
Right, so the fire herps damage is only 203? 203? Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Times 3, so yeah, a bunch.
So 606 fire damage and 756 bludgeoning.
Okay. So, these meteors smash into the surface of the water. I just happen to have a token of a rock.
That's cool.
That worked. That's dope.
They smash into the water. Roughly that size. I made this a while ago. It was when you remember that campaign where you guys were when you had rolled other creatures, and you guys were you had rolled other characters, and you were climbing the mountain to go up to the what was it, the crystalline palace? What was it called?
Where the lightning lady is.
Yeah, where Radcliffe? No, I forgot her name. Shit. Radthorn. Yeah, it was. Yeah. You guys were going up the mountain, and there was a big cyclops hiding behind this boulder. So I made a boulder icon. Anyway, I think that's where it came from. Anyway, so they smash into the surface of the water. Yeah, devastation. All the normal crawlers are completely decimated. The larger creatures survive, the huge armored ones, but all those smaller ones are just smeared across the surface, and the fire and the bludgeoning damage that goes on around you. Huge plumes of steam and smoke as the ocean, the waves, and the water itself are shoved backwards. A crater forms in the ground below you, and then a few seconds later, the ocean comes back in on itself in a huge surge, sweeping away creatures. This is cataclysmic, right? Back at the viewing platform, all around you, the guests and the observers are watching with their jaws are wide open. Gelly is there, and she goes, "Gelly knew it. God from sky has come to be savior of our people." What's his name? General Roman says, "Well, I'll be damned. Fuck me." And Queen Delvinia says, "Well, I'll be damned. Fuck me as well." And
Deimos will say, "I'm happy to oblige." No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm done with the fish people. I'm gonna stay here.
okay,
What do you guys not understand about gods? Tequila?
yeah, everyone's chugging
Hey
tequila.
Deimos,
Just tequilas. Yes.
that thing we talked about,
Yes,
that
what-
would solve your problem with that other person.
Yeah, I know. But I'm a good person.
And that means you got to do what's best for the whole, not
Right.
the individual.
Right.
Right?
Here you go. Give yourself some tequila. And I will give her. Miss Queen Lady, would you care for some Elwyn tequila as you watch Elwyn single-handedly take out an entire army?
She pauses and she looks at you. She says, "This substance you've been handing out," she
Yes.
says, "it is personally from this Elwyn creature."
Well, it's from an alien subsidiary company.
His
which
private stock.
is private stock. I will pull out the second best tequila we have.
She says, "I believe I shall have a taste then."
Now I shall warn you, once you've had some of this sweet, sweet Elwyn juice, you're never gonna say no again to the Elwyn juice. It's an addiction.
She pauses. She says, "You surface dwellers do know how to party." And she chugs it.
Oh shit, this bitch be crazy.
Yeah, she just throws it back. Okay. Elwyn, roll 12d100.
Oh,
Shit.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to type that out.
Yeah.
Slash die 12d100.
Okay, that's how many you killed.
Oh, I got 100. Two
Yeah, you did.
hundreds and 99.
And 99. What the fuck?
Not
Your
bad.
rolls.
Jeez.
Always
You-
above average.
Well above average. Okay. So by this point, so the front portion of this army has been devastated.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to drop the Tesla fraction and swim the fuck away.
Okay. So you, as you do that, you see Depth Lord Lamprax arrive. And he says, he looks, he appears, and his carapace goes back into warrior form, and he just gazes at you, warily, and he says, you wrought this devastation.
That's right, my man. Bring your A game.
He kind of looks down at his staff, his bladed weapon, and he looks at all the streaming, like the smoking and crushed, obliterated corpses. Like the whole sea is full of like strewn debris, but also like chunks of carapace and like the shell, the chitinous tough shells, all over the place, littering the ground, and some floating in the air. Body parts of Depatians like just like all over the place. It's like what Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan flew into when they were approaching the Death Star, like like the remnants of Alderaan. That's what this place looks like.
That's what I tell him. I brought the rock that rot the lot.
No, shit.
So
Been listening to too much logic lately.
so Lamprax, he pauses and he says,
It seems that blade and claw itself will not be enough to win me the battle in this instance. I must deploy my secret weapon.
And kind of like zipping in behind him, a couple other of his soldiers, his escort, come alongside, and they also shift out of travel form. And one of them says,
Lord Lamprex, you know that you've never been able to successfully wield the power of the Illumination Tide Shard before.
and Lamprex says,
It matters not. Victory is all that matters now. I will harness the power of this.
and he pulls out from underneath his chest plate another tie shard. It's longer and more angular than Queen Delvinia's was, right? And more jagged. And he says,
Behold now the might of the god of the sea, as I channel the power of the Tide Shard.
I'm gonna get ready. Hold on, is this a reaction? Fuck it, it's a reaction.
what were we trying to do?
Give him the curse of ineptitude again.
Yes! Yes! I was thinking something.
Yes, I'm gonna do it.
Do it.
Okay, so you see him hold his shard, and he hums a little bit. And unlike Queen Delvinia's, when Queen Delvinia activated hers, there was a ting that kind of echoed through the waves, right? Instead, you see a shimmer begin to illuminate around his hand and around his body, a glowing sense of power, kind of like you saw him before when you had confronted him. But as he does that, his guards gasp and they kind of swim back away from him to a safe distance. The Depatians are beginning to refill the void in the army and continuing to march in your direction. And he says,
Feel now my might.
right, and he holds the shard up in the air, and between his fingers, and he gives a loud guttural scream, ah, right, and the thing begins to burst into bright illumination. Streams of sparkly, glittery light, multicolored and varied, kind of go spraying all over the place. And you see the waters above begin to lighten, as a beam of pure light, of starlight from the surface above, pierces through the waves down into the deep darkness of the ocean depths, and it hits him. Right, it lands on him. So he's like under this cone of spotlight, sparkling all over the place, and the starlight, as it hits the crystal, it's like hitting a prism, so it diffracts into all the various colorways of the spectrum. So you get your pinks and your blues and your indigos and all that stuff, just blazing all around, streaming all around, glitters and sparkles all over the place. He's like full on rainbow bright mode.
Who brought the hallucinogenics to the party?
Beams of light go flashing out towards the incoming creatures. These Depatians that are stomping your way. So these guys, and
I tell him, "You look fabulous."
And these guys, they go stomping his way. They go blasting their way, and you can see the beams of light just like shining on their carapaces and illuminating them. The light being bright and arrayed and sparkly. And after a few seconds go by, the light continuing to shine, one of his escorts comes back up and says,
Well, Death Lord, that's further than you've ever gotten before.
Lamprex is holding the light, and he's illuminating this whole area. He says,
I don't understand. Isn't something else supposed to happen?
and both of his lieutenants kind of shrug their shoulders. He says,
Why is nothing dying? Why there's not devastation and corpses all before me?
They kind of shrug their shoulders.
Well, I'm gonna tell. Well, there are. You see all that?
He says,
I can only see the horrors that my competitor has wrought more clearly now in the light of my illumination.
He looks around. He says,
They're only looking more shiny. Why are they not dying?
They all shrug
Here,
their shoulders.
Let me help you out a little bit. And I'm gonna use my enhanced lightning bolt. Hold on, I'm gonna cast a fireball.
Okay.
And as my quicken, and then I'm gonna do my lightning bolt from my staff, infusing it into the fireball to see what happens.
Okay. So electricity and fire. So you know how in Pokemon, when in Team Pokemon, they can do like combo attacks. you combo attack. You merge the two elements together and blaze forth this ball of electric fire, surging and blasting before you. Now, it's nowhere near as bright as the sheer glory of the illumination provided by Lamprex's Tide Shard. But
he's making it. All his light is making just my stuff more visible.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's highlighting everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's pretty much like the whole place looks completely glorious. Your lightning bolt goes in there and kills.
It's 200 feet long, 10 feet wide.
200 feet long. Yeah. So roll damage real quick. For the lightning bolt and the firebolt, and the fireball.
Lightning bolt and fireball.
Okay. You kill. I'll roll a bit more.
Let me roll them.
Yeah, roll 2d100.
Watch me get less.
It'll be high.
Just
Wait,
By
2d100 I
one.
said. There you go, okay.
Ooh.
Alright, so you kill 138. Blazing through, including one of the big ones. Lamprex is there, right? And he's lowered the Tide Shard. He stopped activating, but still the light just is blazing through the sky, highlighting him. in sparkly glory, and from him it's refracting all around the surrounding area. This place is all lit up like it's in bright starlight. And they're holding his tide shard. And he says,
This shit is useless.
I'll hold it for you.
as he shoves it back into his carapace, and he charges at one of the Depatian crawlers, and cleaves it in two with his blade.
As he's passing by, can I put the tether on him? Just so if I see he's in
Wait,
trouble, I can pull him back.
Can you tether other people?
You can tether everybody, but ours is the best tether.
You may cast this on times. Oh no, he has to be unwilling. I mean, he has to be willing if his intelligence is 5 or greater.
Yeah. So he has 1 kill right now.
Okay.
At that point,
He's 1,138 behind.
at that point, Sub Prince Orcus shows up, and he has a bow, and he starts launching arrows in, and starts dropping one Depatian with each arrow. And they're powerful arrow shots. These things have hundreds of hit points each, but through pinpoint accuracy, he begins dropping them.
I tell him, Sub Prince, keep close to me if you want to survive this.
Okay. Sub Prince looks at you and says, "Understood. I'll do my best." And he keeps launching arrows from his like shiny bow. Depth Lord Lamprax is basically highlighted, glowing light everywhere, and as it happens, he cuts one of them in half, and all these creatures start swarming towards him. Blasts of ranged attacks start firing towards him as the army grows closer.
How far away from me is he?
Oh, he's like really close to you.
Okay, so as soon as they start attacking him, I'm gonna cast Pepin's True Shield on him. It'll give him. It's like a shield spell, but instead of 5, it's a +10. It's a level 3.
Okay. Over the course of the next hour, you guys continually retreat. The army is not very fast, right? And these things they're not super aggressive in moving towards you. They just as soon as they get in range, they launch a few arrows at you and that kind of thing. But you can tell that even though you killed over 1,000 of them, that was a fraction of the leading edge of their assault. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of these things moving forward. They easily march over the corpses of their slain brethren. Depth Lord Lamprax along the way between his blade. Normally, he'd be able to kill dozens of them in the time that you're there, but the light that is glittering off of him kind of gives everyone around him fair warning. So the creatures begin to just avoid him. So he's yeah, it's like fairy fire. It's like the mother of all fairy fires. Alright, so he kills total 31, because he had 1 already. 31 of them. Sub Prince Orcus, along the way, he, over the course of the next, hour and a half that you guys are fighting out there, he kills over 100 of them with his bow. Elwyn, you continue to rain down fire, burning spell slots, and keeping your friends alive. Your biggest attacks were spilled already, but I'll let you roll 4d100 more.
Okay. And how many spell slots do you want me to mark?
Just mark off 15 points worth. Nope, still above average. Look at that.
And while this is going on, I'm gonna put my arms to the side and yell, "Are you not entertained?"
Right. So back at the pavilion.
Sir, entertained.
I'm making a Elwyn fan club back in the pavilion.
Uh-huh.
Like, here, you check out Erwin. So cool. How goes here?
I'm like gonna take like things if you want to like get Elwyn to sign stuff for him for like a certain price.
there's a flock of merfolk that are basically like half shrimp, half humanoid, and they're all girls, and there's like 8 of them, and they're all fawning over Elwyn. Um, the upper half is shrimp, the bottom half is girl.
That's the best.
Dude,
I have no use to bottom. I have no use for a bottom fish girl.
Hey, Midas.
Yeah.
Of the characters that we know are obviously powerful,
Uh
how many of them are in the pavilion?
huh. All of them, except for Oricus and Lamprex.
Yeah, like which ones are in the pavilion that we know of? Because I only know of the general. And the
General, so Jivarishi and the general there. You see a number of warriors, sages, and court attendants. Although based on what you're seeing, there's none that would threaten your power level.
Okay, I'm gonna send a message to Deimos' brain and tell him to do it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna steal her hand.
I don't want you to steal the hand. I want you to take the tide shard.
You take the dark shard.
Does it really look like I'm in any position to take it?
Does it look like a man in a bunch of underwear could steal a queen's wrist?
No, I want you to take her hand off.
Yeah, that's even worse.
No, it's not. We can put it back on afterwards.
Well, they are bickering over stealing her tie chart. I'm yelling at Elvin to take the other one.
That's the only way we can prevent her from using it on us, is if you separate her from it.
I mean, that makes sense, obviously, but I think she's not a bad person and no one wants to get their hand ripped off. Obviously, how is she gonna do dumbbell curls without a hand?
We can put the hand back on, Deimos.
I'm gonna tell Deep Throat Labrat. I'm gonna say, what's more important to you? Defeating this army or winning the queen's hand?
He pauses for a second. He says, as the light continues to to sparkle all around him. He says,
We are a warrior species. I only seek the Queen's hand to increase our ability to survive and slay our enemies in waves before us.
Let me borrow the shard. You will have it back. I give you my word as a god.
he says,
Barter.
he says,
Barter for the shard. Yes, I will lend you the shard for a period of time. And your divine oath, if you are God.
he spits in the water. The saliva just kind of streams out of his mouth and just inhabits the bubble of water around him anyway. He says,
If you are God, I will give to you the tide shard for a time. Brief amount. But I seek something from you in return.
Okay, what do you want?
Your kill count in this fat battle.
I think they can see what happened.
An honorable agreement between contestants is within the bounds of the law.
You got it. You're on.
okay. He says,
Everybody look, Elwin gave Lord Dishpants a pity thing so he could win it.
When he hands it to Elwyn, I'm looking to see if there's any reaction from the queen to
So
him doing that.
24 hours. 24 hours is the terms of his barter.
That's fine.
48 hours, because they're a 2-day march away. 40 hours and 1 hour. 49 hours.
You know what? Yes, for the length of the battle.
So wait, 49 hours?
Yeah.
For the length of however long this war lasts.
Until the crab army is defeated.
Yeah, until this army is defeated.
He pauses
what
and he
she
looks
did?
at you. He says, Roll persuasion.
With pleasure.
Still good enough.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, lucky. There.
He says,
Until the crabs are destroyed. Agreed.
Agreed.
all right, so he hands over his tide chart to you. And the glowing, as soon as it leaves his hand, kind of just shuts off and the sparkles disappear, and you guys are plunged back into the darkness of the ocean depths.
Does the queen have any reaction to him doing that?
The crowd in general, you hear from you guys hear murmurs and whispers and talking just begin to flare up. You hear some people say, "Can't believe he handed over the tide shard." Say it's the seal of royalty, the mark of power, and others say, so like what? And then others people say, "What use is power? What use is a spark as a piece of divinity if it has no practical value? That tide shard has been long known as being useless." So there's a lot of conversation going about, and you guys get the sense that the tide shards all represent an aspect of Verkel's divinity. There's 3 of them, and based on their conversation, they're saying like, but nonsense. None of divinity is never useless. The power of the god beneath the waves. We've just been unworthy of utilizing it. So, the shard that Lamprax had and that he hands over to you, Elwyn, is the light of the sea. All right. The shard that Delvinia has grants the mind of the sea. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna grab the chain that's hanging around my neck that's been useless ever since I got it.
Okay.
And my crystal of brightness.
Yeah.
And kind of feel the power from this shard that I just got. Does it feel similar the way that it works?
What did I tell you that thing on your neck was? I forget.
My crystal of brightness.
I know, but
that's never worked.
That's never worked. I told you it was something, didn't I?
Yeah, you said that like it has some special powers or something that we don't know.
Okay. Okay. They're different.
Okay.
They're both divine, but they're completely different objects. Yeah, they bear very little relation to each other.
Okay. While the fight's still going on, I'm gonna take some time to try to feel how this thing works. I've had many items of extreme power. I mean, I'm holding 2 in my hands right now. I want to try to communicate or attune or something to make this work, because he wasn't one with Labarat wasn't attuned to magic at all, so I'm sure I can try to find a response even with the small time that I have it. What would you like me to roll?
Okay. Roll religion.
Persuasion, you say?
Religion.
Oh, okay, that's not bad either.
As you hold the crystal, as it touches your hand, you can feel a shimmer kind of just tingle across your fingertips. You can tell that it is definitely an object of great divine power. But how to access it, how to to interact with it is a little bit befuddling to you. It's you can tell you're gonna need to learn more. It's beyond your current knowledge.
Okay. So to kick things off, I would like to, instead of using my, what do you call it? My focus. I'm going to try to use the crystal as a focus as I cast let's call it a 7th level fireball. See what happens.
So using the crystal, it does work as a focus. It imparts no extra damage or power to the spell. All the you do see flashes of light and some sparkles around the fireball as it blazes out. But the damage and the effect of it is unchanged.
Okay.
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 By this time, the army has in great part moved around you and kind of past you. A few of these creatures have begun to engage, right? And you guys are fighting them off. But the army, the edge of the army continues on in both directions for like this front edge of the army goes on. It's like a half mile front, you know. So in whole sections of the army, they've even passed by you. A lot of these creatures are firing back and attacking. You guys are defending yourselves properly, but you're being pushed back slowly. Time goes by, and you hear a tinkling of a bell, and that's the third time you've heard that. And Sub Prince Orcus looks at you and says, "The contest is set to end within the hour." He says, "By rule, we need to be able to be present with the Queen to report our kill counts."
Okay.
Midas.
Yeah.
When they start making their way back, I want to do something.
Okay.
I tell him, well, if you must go, go.
He nods and he flares up his trident and he dashes off. At the same time, Lamprax shifts form along with his escorts who haven't done anything. They've been holding to the
I'm
rules.
gonna say to the escorts, wait, and I show them the crystal. You serve me now. I hold the power.
Roll persuasion.
Shit, I'm gonna use my last lucky.
Okay. They pause for a second and they look back and forth at each other. They look at Lamprax, and Lamprax waves his hand, and he says, and they both turn and they come towards you, Owen, as Lamprax shifts form and blazes off back towards the city.
I'm gonna say quickly, as fast as you can describe, how do I activate this thing? That fool did not have the power. I just need to know how. What did he do when he tried to activate this?
They look at each other and they kind of say, "We are not scholars. We are warriors. There are rumors of each shard being given to each kingdom as a means to bring unity to the folk under the sea, as Verko's greatest wish. But we don't know much beyond that."
I say shift to travel mode and be ready to grab me and swim, like pull me along the water while you swim. The keyword is pineapple. When I say pineapple, you grab me and swim.
They look at each other
and I'm
and they say, they kind of shrug their shoulders and they nod their heads, and you hear them whispering to each other, "What's a pineapple?"
under the sea. Anyway, so I grab the shard, and me dealing with a legit goddess and knowing how her power flows, I'm going to reach out, knowing that this is a unity stone pretty much, and I'm going to begin to picture in my mind kingdoms united, the queen, along with Labrat's people, along with the sub princess people, one one family. And in my mind, I'm seeing not myself at the side of the queen,
Hmm?
but sub prince Oricus
Okay.
leading their people together. And I'm gonna try to channel, uh, you know, make this work somehow. Is that
Okay.
at all possible?
Make a religion check.
I don't have any more luckies. No.
You're holding there and you're trying really hard. You're thinking
Wait.
these.
Hold on. Can I Boon of Ambrosia a skill check?
Boon of Ambrosia.
It's the max damage one.
He
Max
does
damage
have
on one over combat.
He has a pamphlet to pray to Tempest. If he uses the pamphlet to pray to Tempest, would Tempest bestow upon him advantage on the roll? Because Tempest is a god, right?
Are you gonna try it? Are you gonna try it, Ellen?
I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna Boon of Ambrosia and reach into my pocket and see if Tempest can guide, can give me that little extra oomph that I need.
Okay. So you cast your Boon of Ambrosia, and you realize that it only works on damage checks.
Damn it.
Back at the party though, Renly, you're continuing to hand Tempest shots, and he pauses for a second in his drunken state. He grabs his shot glass. He crashes out on. He throws it on the ground. He's like, "God's fucking damn it!" he says. He says. He says. They're using my name again.
How can you tell? I think you're not drunk enough. I mean, tequila.
He says it's not working. He says it's not working, Renly. He says they keep calling after me. They keep wanting something from me. He kind
I
of shakes his head.
find that usually, like, giving them stuff to pacify them usually gets them to shut up for a while. Do you have something you can just throw at them for now?
He pauses. He says, he says, I do know one thing of the gods. And he stands up. You can see he kind of shakes his head, and light begins to glow around his hands and his head and his eyes, and all effects of the intoxication just kind of burn off of him. You can see like blazing light just kind of like steam off of him. He says, my mother, she told me once that there's a bit of divinity in everyone, and all I had to do was to seek it, and it would find me. He says, and he closes his eyes, and Elwyn, miles and miles away, you can hear his voice in your mind. He says, Elwyn, I hear you calling my name. What do you want?
This horde is coming towards the city, and I need your divine help to get through to the Lord of the Seas, the deity of these people, to activate this stone and save them. And this is not, and I'm not doing this to get the Queen's hand. I'm going to when I win this contest, I'm going to tell her that her best mate would be the Sub Prince Orcus. I just truly want to save these people. Help me reach out. Help me activate this.
He pauses for a second. And he says, he says, "Allow me to look through your eyes." And he gazes. You can feel him looking through your eyes at the crystal, and he says, "This is definite." He says, "This is certainly the essence of divinity. I can feel it, and I'm not sure why I can feel it." He says, "You have me wrong, Elwin. I'm not a god. I don't even know how I'm doing what I'm doing right now." He says, "But I can tell you this. The god who created this crystal and gave it to a certain people sought for only those people to be able to use it. It was the way that they would be brought together. Once the nations under the sea finally came together in peace," he says, "I can feel his will radiating from this crystal. He wanted them to come together, all three crystals, in unity. Only then would the powers truly be unleashed." He says, "Elwin, you are not of their species. This power is not yours to wield."
Understood. Pineapple.
The two Votalan guards shift into these large, armored, sharkish-looking forms. Their powerful tails flipping behind them, and the tethers that they have on you, your form tighten, and with the combined power of both of them, they just whisk you backwards at great speed. Renly, Tempest is there. He kind of pushes the tequila away. He says, "Thank you, Renly. I'm going to go rest. I'm not sure what just happened, but I need to take a break."
I think you did good. At least you found some purpose there. Rest it off, yeah.
He says, "That was really fucking weird." And he kind of goes over to a cot and he just kind of like flops down on it and passes out.
I'll make eyes at Gally towards like Tempest, like maybe like soothing vibes, and then I'll like shuffle away, sneaking a bit of tequila.
Okay. All right. Back at so a little bit of time goes by. The attitude on the pavilion has gone from one of excitement and just watching now to and as the three of you have disengaged and are coming back to the city, the reality of what's happening has begun to settle in as the viewing mirrors, the viewing glass focuses on, and you see the true expanse of this horde coming your way. Thousands and thousands more issue forth from the trenches, almost an endless stream of these Depatians moving in your direction, and at the core of them all, this hulking monstrosity with the face of a skull, moving towards you. By the time you guys arrive back, Elwin, the demeanor of the party has greatly changed. Wait, what'd you say, Adis?
I wanted to do something before they get anywhere near back.
Okay, go ahead.
So first I'm going to cast Time Stop.
Okay.
And just fucking pray that this works. So it lasts, 2 rounds. That's good enough. Alright, so that's my 9th level. And then I'm going to haste myself on the first round and position myself in a way where there's no bystanders between me and the queen.
Mm-hmm.
Haste is a 3rd level, which will give me an extra attack. And then for the second turn, I'm going to sever her arm just above the thing, whatever the hell, the tide shard.
Are you still in your large form?
Yeah, I'm going to use my Searing Gaze to basically slice her arm off.
Okay. So that breaks the spell instantly as soon as it touches her.
Yeah, as soon as the first one hits her, yeah. But I'll get another attack if it doesn't work. Before she can do anything. That's the game plan anyway.
Let me see here real quick.
Oops, wrong channel.
Oh, and by the way, this attack is meant to be non-lethal, even though it might come close to killing her.
Range weapon attack. 22 hit. 22 to hit. One target. 15 foot. Or let's see. One target. 500 foot range. All this damage. The target creature has 100 hit points or fewer. It must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or die.
But I'm calling it ahead of time as being non-lethal, so technically it can't kill her. Unless you so desire it to.
Okay. You wait
So
for
I'm gonna-
yeah, you wait for a moment when her arm is kind of extended. She's kind of pointing off at something. She's summoning a waiter to bring her more of a certain beverage, and as she does so, she raises her hand out and pointing, and you cast Time Stop. So her arm is extended. The Tide Shard is around a bracelet on her wrist. Okay, so
the tie shirt's attached to a bracelet?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not like... Okay, I misunderstood what kind of... So the bracelet's not the shard. The shard is just affixed to it?
yes.
Oh, well then maybe I can do this without hurting her then. Yeah, I'll aim for the bracelet then,
Okay.
instead of her. Yeah, I'll aim for the bracelet. And what could I do? Or no, wait, hold on.
You see, the thing is, you're really really big.
Oh, I know.
And you're aiming at something very small.
You're trying to thread the needle,
Yeah.
except the needle is
Oh,
like
I know.
yeah.
But I can. I'm not worried about missing it. It's just nice that there's an opportunity to not hurt her, if possible, right?
Well, it's on her wrist, so
I know. But I also have true sight, so sort of could kind of see it like it were right in front of me. Sort of, maybe. I mean, I could kneel down. I could kneel down so that she's like not very far away.
You could do that, yeah. Yeah, you could kneel down and bend
I could have
close.
kneeled, yeah, on the first turn. All right, so I'll aim for the bracelet then. Well, actually,
Your gaze is not a laser, right?
Exactly.
It's like
You're
it's
like
big.
a cannon.
It's like a you know, like the big blast from the ships in Independence Day. It's got this big,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
it's like that.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just take her fucking arm off because she's up anyway. Fuck with my head. Yeah, I'll just take her fucking arm off. Is the wrist? Is the
I mean,
bracelet
and
around her
if you
wrist?
fire your thing, it's gonna like punch a hole in the
Oh, I don't
pavilion and stuff.
I don't care about the pavilion. I'm just aiming it to hit and avoid avoid any collateral living damage. I don't care about the pavilion.
Okay.
All
Alright.
right, so I'll take her arm off at the elbow. What's a fitting consolation? Yeah, we'll take it off at the elbow.
Okay.
That's my called shot.
All right. So you cast Time Stop. You bend down close. This thing is hovering over, and the only reason like all the guards and stuff have been allowing have not been attacking your large hulking form is because they believed you to be one of their allies, along with like Deimos and Adis and Elwyn and Renly. So
Oh, I know.
they're watching you warily, but then you time stop. You come in, and you cast this. You shoot this blazing beam down, and it severs her arm at the elbow, right? And it slams into the ground, full on punching a hole through the pavilion. As that happens, the time stop spell fails. The pavilion begins to teeter because as it punched through, it destabilized it, and whatever the lattice work of crystals underneath the pavilion that are allowing it to propel forward was broken. So the whole thing begins to tip over and begin to drop down to the
I'm gonna grab
seafloor.
her arm that I severed.
Oh, the arm is destroyed. It's
Oh, then I'm
completely
gonna grab the
incinerated.
tide shard and start
Um,
walking towards the battlefield.
You can't pick it up. You're way too big. The thing is pretty small. It's right now. It's floating in the air. She's holding her arm forward, like your fingertips are bigger than she is.
Yeah, but I can't like cup it in my hand and close my hand.
Your hand is bigger than. It's like the size
I-
of. You're 300 feet tall. it's like your hand is the size of
Okay,
of the
can
dance floor.
I push it up into the air away from her
With what?
with my hand?
Your hand is the size of the dance floor.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
know.
it's bigger than like 20 of these people standing across
Okay,
it.
so obviously there's no magic holding this pavilion, so I'll take my hand and I'll shove the pavilion down away from it. How about that?
Okay. All right, so you push the pavilion down with your hand. At this point, she's screaming. The all the guards and all the general and everyone just turns up towards you, and they sound an alarm about an invader and about the betrayal of this creature, and they begin to mobilize against you.
Sweet. How high up in the air is the gym thingy?
As you push the pavilion down, even with your full weight, it's a large pavilion. So you're only able to push it down a few feet, so it's 5 feet up in the air.
All right, I'll put my finger right next to the gym and I'll release concentration on the true polymorph and grab it.
Okay.
And
So you are now
have
the
my
size
form-
of a person, and you're holding on to the crystal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
And then we roll initiative?
I'm still in the round of my time stop. that
No, I
got
thought
for
you
my time
affected
stop.
No,
somebody else,
As soon as you
right?
touch someone, it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, the time stop ends, but I haven't finished that round because I'm hasted.
So what are you doing?
Okay, am I back?
What? Yeah, you're here. I hear you.
I got disconnected. Sorry.
Oh yeah, my thing. Good, I just got back in.
Yeah. Elwin, to answer your question, I took the tide shard.
But whose arm got ripped off?
The
Queen's.
queen's.
You attacked the queen.
I did.
He time stopped, attacked the queen, got the tide shard, is back in small form, and is hasted, so it's still his turn.
How far away were? Okay, so they were just on their way back. We're not telepathically linked, are we?
Nope.
Oh, I have one of the stones though. I'm going to, for the moment, see how things play out, and I will send a message to Elwin and tell him to tell General Fuckboy that he should probably get back here quickly. And I'm gonna put up a multi-layered.
I have your number blocked.
Oh, do you?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what happened, so I'm like, well, we're on our way back.
I'm trying to see what I can do. I mean, me in my normal form is pretty tough, but I'm going to try to avoid hurting anybody else.
Do you have a message that you're sending out to everyone else?
Yeah, through the our little cell
Yeah.
phones.
You can talk. You basically have just your talking action left because you used your first action to cast the attack, your second action to push down on the pavilion. So you're out of
Okay.
full actions. You just have like a bonus basically left.
I'll move my full 60 feet away, swim away, or however
30.
far away, up,
It's 15
at
because you're
an angle,
underwater. You're not proficient in swimming.
and doubled for haste, so 30.
Okay.
Right? Right? Am I right or no?
It doubles your movement speed. Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'll swim up and away, but toward the battlefield. And then I will tell Elwyn to tell Homeboy to get back here because the queen is no longer queen.
You get one of those automated responses saying, I'm driving right now, and it's attached as a dick pic.
Okay.
And so what we've been told is whoever holds the shard rules, right? That's what
the
that's
ruler.
what the one douchebag. That's what
the
the one
ruler
douchebag
holds
told
the
us,
shard.
right?
The
Right,
ruler
and-
is the owner of the tide shard.
And along with telling Elwyn that, I will tell all of those people to stand down.
Okay. So Renly and Deimos, you guys, there a brief pause on the action. All of a sudden, as it stops, you see the queen screaming, holding her the stump of her severed arm, and you see the dissipation of Adis's massive polymorph spell, and he's swimming away as fast as he can, holding the tide shard and talking into the crystal. What do you guys do?
Damos hides.
You can never see me, I'm James.
I am Damo.
What? Hold on one second.
She won't be bleeding out because it
Hold on
was
one
a
second.
fire attack.
So I got disconnected. Sorry. What did you say, Deimos?
I'm trying to make sure the lady doesn't die from like, I mean, I guess she's not bleeding out, but like from like a neural hemorrhage and stuff like that.
She's not
Sure.
bleeding out. And there's a little bit of blood coming out. She's not like hemorrhaging and losing her. She's not dying at the moment. She's just in great pain.
I will try to fix that, and I am super confused on what just happened. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like I just saw that she had no arm, and everything's bad right now.
Yeah, basically.
Renly, what are you doing?
What's up with this party? What the fuck is going on? I leave you for 1 minute, people. Jeez.
That's my
Well, you guys
medicine
would
thing
have
for her.
heard what I said to Elwyn because I broadcasted it. So
During time stop.
no, the time stop was already up. The time
Yeah,
stop
time
was
stop.
already up.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Oh, I told them that him and Captain Dick we need to get back fast because the queen isn't queen anymore.
What happened? And so I'm very confused, and I'm like, is anyone going to heal the queen? I mean,
Well,
just asking, and then okay,
yeah.
I'll help. Oh God.
I medicined her, and I'll do. That's all I can do because my divine stuff doesn't work very well anymore in this world.
Okay, so you guys go up to help the queen.
It
Yeah.
might work on this. It might work in this plane, Deimos. You should try.
I'll medicine her, and I'll also do like a basic healing. I'll do a cure wounds at like level 1. See if it
Because
does
wasn't it
anything.
we just couldn't heal demon wounds?
Yeah, you're right.
I can regenerate that limb back. Hold on, give me a minute. What the fuck is up with your parties, people?
Okay, so you guys work. The regeneration works and the healing works.
Okay,
Oh.
cool.
So so your regeneration allows her to be able to.
She starts healing slowly, and she starts regrowing her limbs slowly.
Yeah, it takes like a minute, I think, for it to grow back.
2 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. So 2 minutes is a long time. So
I
as
love how you guys are doing exactly what I wanted you to do.
that
I'm
begins to happen,
so
the
wasted.
the armies so Deimos, you reach out and you cast Heal on the Queen, and Renly, you rush up and you cast Regenerate. And as that happens, blades come slashing your direction as guards come swirling up, saying, "It's them! They're the ones who assaulted the Queen!" And so
Dude, we're healing.
they begin attacking
Hold
you.
up your horses.
So a few of them begin to try to escort the Queen away from you. You do get the spells off. The bulk of the guard and the mobilized guard, the people who the alarms have been sounded, are coming after you, Adis. Arrows and spears and attacks become flying your way, and you can see several creatures arising from around the pavilion that look like this.
Ooh, that's creepy.
They
What is
arise up.
going on?
Their eyes and their hands glowing with this luminescence, as they're all around the pavilion, so they're definitely surrounding you to an extent. Okay. So, Adis, attacks begin to fly your way.
Okay.
Okay. So these are various ballista and arrows that begin to go your way. General Roman comes charging up, bearing his trident, much more adept at swimming through the water, even with your hasted speed. He surges um, past you, goes right in front of you, and shoves his blade in your direction.
Okay.
Okay, so these first three, I think, are hits. You're AC
Oh
17.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm rolling damage for those. Okay, the 3 arrows as they're piercing you.
So that's 140. Okay.
Okay, the general is going to use his full flurry series of attacks on you.
Okay. That was a crit.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I can't shield any of that shit. Alright, so the
And
first
then
one's doubled.
Well, here's a crit. Yeah. So
Oh,
here,
you
let
did
me
the
roll.
last.
I didn't do the crit yet. So here's the extra crit dice for damage.
Alright, so 190, 136, 171, 196.
Mhm.
If I added that up right?
Yeah.
So that'll be. I'm just gonna grab a calculator to make sure I get it right. 140 plus 196. That hurts. So I have 336 wounds. Okay.
Okay. And these casters all around the pavilion, they're different species. They're basically, they contain essence of the remaining remnants of divine power. They're in tune with it beneath the waves, and you can see them beginning to glow, and an interconnected series of crystals begin to form around you, around your legs, around your hands, around your torso, as the 5 that are in the immediate area begin to do this, begin to hold you in place. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Adis, you there?
Okay, I'm back.
All right. So these casters, there's 5 of them, and they all begin to form a crystalline like lattice work around you, and it begins to form around your legs and your arms and your torso.
Are they casting a spell?
They all are, yeah.
I'll counterspell 2 of them.
Okay. So those 2 fail, but the 3 remaining ones do. So it's your both your legs and your torso.
How many of them are there?
There's 5 within range.
Oh, there's 5 of them.
Mhm.
And I will counterspell the ones that were going on my arms.
Okay. So your legs and your torso are. So you're stuck in place, and as these crystals begin to form around you, you begin to feel very cold. Your blood begins to your body temperature begins to drop as your blood pulses through, flowing through your veins, slows down to half speed. Right. You begin to get sluggish. So the effects of haste, effects of haste are gone.
Good thing I had it though.
Yeah, otherwise you'd be slowed. Okay. And then the final thing, Deimos, you see a flurry of tentacles whip by you as Jivarishi just surges up towards where Adis is. Adis, they are frozen in place for her turn. She places her hand on the back of your head, and you can feel, and you see the tentacles just splay out all around you, right? And you feel a huge electric shock, a sting to the back of your neck.
Okay.
This is you're basically immobilized, so this is a guaranteed hit.
So 113.
Yep. Of lightning
Not
of
enough.
electric damage.
Ouch.
I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
you're stunned.
Spark it. I'll spark it. Just on the off chance. Yeah, so that's the 40 something.
Okay, you resist the stun effect,
Sweet.
and then she uses her tentacles and she wraps them around your arms and your torso and your neck.
Okay.
All right. That's all of them. All right. So what do you do?
Turn into the Leviathan and swim away. At like 400 and something feet.
Your whole torso and legs are trapped in this crystal.
Right. But when I become a Leviathan, I'm just water.
A Leviathan is a physical form.
Of water.
No.
Right.
No, it's a
Yeah.
creature.
Yeah, it's a creature, but it's made of water. It's just like it's a water elemental.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it
Let's
is.
see here. Oh yeah, it's an elemental. Okay. So you turn into a Leviathan. You shapeshift into a Leviathan,
Mhm.
and then you swim.
Well, I'll book it.
Okay.
I will disengage, actually.
To use your action to disengage.
Yes, I'll use my action just in case some motherfuckers can attack me.
Okay. And you get 120 feet.
Times 2.
No, you disengaged.
I'll cast haste on myself again.
You get counterspelled.
I'll counterspell the counterspell.
There's many counterspellers.
I'll make I will make them all cast it.
Yeah, the third one gets through because
Okay,
you counterspell 2, and there's 2 more. There's 5 of them
fine.
within range.
That's fine. I'll make them waste them.
Okay, so
Alright, so
you get 120
I
feet.
swim I swim 120, and then I will send Leviathan's tidal wave back toward them.
That's an action. You use your action
So
to
you-
transform.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
You transform, disengage, moved, and then tidal wave?
Oh wait, no, I can't disengage. That's right, because I use my action to do that. So I'll have to take the hits from them, I suppose, as a Leviathan.
Okay.
But before I transform, though, I'm going to use my free item interaction to put the little thingy on my wrist.
Okay.
And in the off chance that it'll work, I'm going to tell them, as the bearer of the Tide Shard, I order you all to stand down.
Okay.
Do I get a persuasion check?
No.
It doesn't matter because it's like a +2, so I won't do anything. Anyway.
No. You transfer into Leviathan. You swim
well,
away
wait.
120 feet.
Hold on. Pause that 1 sec.
Okay.
Because I didn't think of that. I need time. I don't know that I could outswim Romo. Pretty sure I could outswim What's Her Bucket, but yeah, we'll try it. I'll turn on the Leviathan and swim away.
As you disengage, as you don't disengage, you transform and you begin to move away. General Roman gets his opportunity attack on you, so he attacks once. That's
Did
a
you
hit.
post that thing, Elwin? How many hit points does Leviathan have?
328.
So 328 minus 51. Okay.
Deimos and Renly, what do you do?
Are we getting attacked by things, or
They were fending you off from the queen. So right now between you, there's a barrier of 4 guards, holding you back from the queen. They're ushering the queen away. Off
Do
to
you
safety.
want her healed or not? I'm ignoring the battle and just trying to make sure that she's okay.
I mean, the bleeding has stopped. She's still whimpering and screaming. You guys got the spells off before the guards intervened.
Alright.
So they kind of shoved you off of her, and they're dragging her away. And they have their blades pointed at you, but they're backing off with her.
I will make a defensive circle also around her as I guard her.
I'll sing off key for so that she doesn't feel the pain as much for my comfort song.
Okay.
And I just wait it out. I'm still feeling the effects of a lot of tequila.
Okay.
So the
That's about it.
douchebag that wanted the shard is with Elwin, right?
Yes. Well, he was swimming back faster than Elwin.
Right, but he was with him. It's not this general.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So Deimos and Renly, Renly, you managed to comfort the queen. You hear her screaming subside. Deimos, you're guarding the queen. Are you putting a bubble
Yeah.
around her?
I'm pretty well. I'm doing a bubble, but I'm like not yet. But like I'm like in super defensive. I don't know what the fuck happened mode.
Okay.
And it's very obvious.
You look up and
Who's ruining the party?
you look up and you see the might of the army now as more defendants have moved into the area, coming down on Adis. Okay, he's moved into Leviathan form. He's swam 120 feet away. but easily within reach of many soldiers. And so range attacks are flying in, harpoons, arrows. You see the casters firing off beams of greenish light in your direction. General Roman, now that he has his full wits about him, you see him muttering to himself as he swims in your direction, and his trident begins to glow this bright, searing red.
Here, to Adus, he must be under a spell of something. There's no other way this would happen.
Okay. Adis, so the arrow attacks. The arrow attacks come swarming your way.
Elwin, what's the Leviathan's AC?
17.
I don't know. I
I have it
closed
here.
down the. Okay.
It's 17.
What is it?
17.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll shield the 18, and so the 18 and the 19 will both miss.
Okay. So 4 attacks get through.
So 4, 8. I'll just do it this way. Minus 42, minus 45, minus 37, minus 50. Okay.
And then where's my? There it is. Okay. So you need to make 5 dexterity saving throws. Your dexterity modifier is a +7.
+7. Okay. That's a 20.
Mhm.
It typed it in the wrong place, but that's 25. I'm just gonna roll them. It'll be quicker. 4, 5.
Okay. 3 hits. 1, 2, 3. These are force damage. Disintegrate spells.
That kills me outright. Pretty sure. Let me look. Oh, not quite. But it will render me unconscious.
Okay.
Unless I have a death ward on me, which I'm not sure if I do or not.
You did.
No, I have a death ward, according
So
to the combat tracker.
So your Leviathan form drops.
Yeah, I'd only had 100 hit points left.
Okay. You drop down to 1 hit point as your death ward activates.
Correct.
And General Roman swims up to your body and shoves his glowing red trident through your chest.
Go for it. Roll a 1.
Well, he has 4 attacks.
It's just like that.
Hey, I could get
that
lucky.
friggin' cowboy guy
Oh, that one hits.
with a gun who shoots me.
That one misses. Or
Well,
no, that'll
at that
hit.
the first one
That'll hit,
kill
actually.
the first one makes you unconscious. The next 3 auto hit.
Yep. Which will
General
kill me.
Ronan, stop. Please. There has to be a reason. There's no
Oh,
way.
you're with the queen. You can't tell him to stop.
Okay.
So he kills me.
Yeah, he attacks your body. You're unconscious, and the next 3 hits
Will kill me.
all auto hit.
Which will kill me.
Okay. There's a pause kind of through the room, through the ocean atmosphere. The queen is off in the corner, holding onto her her arm, which is slowly regrowing. The general rips out the trident from your body, blood flowing out from around it. He reaches down and retrieves the tide shard from your hand. He turns towards Deimos and Renly, um, seeing you both just standing there, and he says to you,
What is the meaning of this?
and as he does that, he points his trident at you, and guards all begin to swarm in, dozens and dozens of them from all around the capital. Um, every spear, every hard trident, and every ballista, all the spellcasters in the city, even Jivarishi herself, she's standing there, Deimos, and you can see her hands beginning to crackle with electricity. Are all standing around there, just staring at you guys.
I honestly have no idea. Um, yeah, I have no idea. We just fixed her arm, and I've literally no idea what just happened.
Says, I'll tell you what's happened. Your friend here made an attempt upon the Queen's life and tried to make
Sorry.
off with her tide shard.
I mean, I saw that. That's like a cop asking, like, when you get pulled over, were you speeding? I mean, I saw what happened. I don't know what happened.
He says, has this all been a clever ruse to gain the key of our power?
Does it look like I'm clever enough to do that?
He pauses
I'm
for a
so
second.
confused. We try to save the queen. You have the shard. I am so confused. There's a gigantic army coming in to destroy this city. And yes.
Jivarishi says, there is indeed an incoming army, General. It seems we have threats without and threats within. Now is not the time to lose our temper. The general says,
Imprison them.
Right. Wait, where are we getting imprisoned? Thames has done nothing wrong.
Wait, what? I was out of it. Sorry.
I have no idea what just happened.
I was
I'm
unconscious for a
fairly
moment. What
confident
happened?
Idus is dead, and I'm pretty damn sure that he wants us to go to jail for them murdering him or something. I'm so confused.
the guards grab you and they begin to drag you off in the direction of the prisons.
I will walk there as they try to move me, but I will politely go in the direction they want because
Okay.
they can't move the Deimos.
All right. It's around this time. Actually, a little bit of time goes by. You get escorted back to the prisons. The queen regrows her arm, and the Tide Striders return to her. Elwyn, you arrive back about half an hour later from your full journey. You heard the message from Adis, and then there's silence afterwards.
So, I am sure I arrive a little bit like just behind the other two guys,
Yes.
and I'm amazed. Like the platform's down, the army is out and about. I immediately say, "What happened here?"
Lamprax stands there and says, It appears your friend made an attempt on the Queen's life to steal her shard. He was slain, his corpse floats there.
He says,
And your other allies have been taken to the dungeon.
I immediately, before I even look at the body, I'm like, "Fucking Adis," and tell him to prove there's no treachery. I hand him back his shard.
mm-hmm. He looks at you quizzically. He takes it from your hand. He says,
I see.
the general comes up to you and he says, my lord, he says,
I believe that you were taken in by these allies of yours. We all know that even the divine are fallible. We saw your exploits out on the battlefield, but while your back was turned, your friends wrought havoc back here.
Now, I've been with my friends for a very long time. I know that Deimos would never turn. Was he involved in the attack?
Jiverish, swims up. She says, "He was not. In fact, it was he who began to heal the queen's arm." She says, she points her hand off in the direction of Adis's body, which is lying down on like a piece of coral. She says, "It was that one, the one that inhabited the large form. He attacked the queen."
Was there any chance that he might have been affected by mind control by one of your rivals while we, the strongest, and I point at us three that were fighting the whole group, were away? We weren't here to defend against that intrusion? Would that be possible?
They all look, and they look back and forth, and they say, and the general says, and they're looking back and forth, and all of a sudden they all kind of look and turn their eyes towards the sub prince. And he says, "It's possibility. My people, yes." He says, "It's a possibility. The skill to do that is within the bounds of my people. Yes. I, of course, had no hand in it, but I cannot speak for everyone else here." His Majesty, and the Queen, she's holding her regrown arm, and she's kind of trembling. He says, "I propose to you that we hold the guests here for just a while, not imprisoned, but allow a full interrogation. If there is a plot afoot, then we must get to the bottom of it." He says, "General, Depth Lord, I believe there is an army coming here, one that far exceeds our numerical our numerical forces. We have not much time."
Wait, before we do anything, and this is the first time I'm going to call him by his name. Shit, I only wrote down Deep Throat Labrat. I don't know what his real name is.
Is it Depth Lord Lamprax?
I'll say Depth Lord.
Here.
While I was holding the stone, I came to realization. It spoke to me, and it showed me how they were meant to be used. And it is not because you're not strong enough to wield it. They are not meant to be wielded alone. All the holders of the stones must unite and use them together to defeat this army that's coming. That's how your strength will grow. That's how you'll protect your people. And I look over at the Queen, and I tell her, "And Your Majesty, as much beauty and charisma that you exude, and the pleasures that you'd be able to provide are unimaginable.
You
I'm
hear her whisper.
sorry to
You hear her whisper under her breath, "Damn right they are."
I'm I'm sorry to say that I withdraw myself from this challenge to win your hand, and I give the points that I have won over to the Sub-Prince Oricus."
She's holding her wrist, and she looks at him, and she says, I don't understand."
Guide your people together, the three of you wielders of the crystals, of the stones. Use them. Come, unite now. Bring your people together. We'll worry about, and I point at Adis, that later.
She says, "But the third crystal has not been heard of in years, ever since the dawn of the Maw, when Anwen was obliterated."
Well,
None
fuck
have.
me.
Just we've had no contact, and seen none from their realm. The whole and Jivarishi swims up. She says, "Indeed, that whole part of the ocean lies close to the Maw and has grown dark. We suspect that." She pauses for a second. She says, "Early on, the Maw formed, and it was as if Anwen itself was the target. Forces destroyed it in its vast cities. Anwen was the most glorious of all three kingdoms, and now completely dark."
Okay. Well then, shit. And don't feel too bad about your arm. And I show her my arm because it's all one of them is like kind of limp.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that bad. You've seen the power I wield with just one good arm.
You see her rubbing her hand. She says, "Your healer was quite adept." She looks and she holds it. She says, "It seems I am as new."
Yes. Speaking of them, I I can guarantee that those two were not involved in any of this, and we will get to the bottom of what took over the our other traveling companion.
The sub-prince nods and says, "I will see to it myself. I will conduct the investigation thoroughly."
But for now, we must prepare for the assault that will come upon us.
Depth Lamprax says,
We need the third tide shard. Legend has that it is the most powerful of the three. Mine is the light of the sea, hers the mind of the sea. The third shard, held by the Empress of Anwen, was the might of the sea.
Well then, Depth Lord, that's where we shall go. You have us at your disposal.
he looks. All these leaders look back and forth from each other. They say,
We must convene.
and they kind of pull away, and they begin to talk. Okay. So that's where we'll leave it for this week.
Coo, coo, coo.
Woohoo! Throwing up in jail.
Yeah, you guys are in jail.
Wait, so
got you,
I
fam.
missed what happened to Adis. What happened to Adis? Why is he floating?
He's dead.
Because the general killed me.
Like, killed you? Killed you?
Yeah, like dead.
Holy shit. Okay, I missed that completely. Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
rip out the innards dead.
But divine stuff seems to work in this plane. Dun dun dun.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, thanks so much for
Yeah, it kind of sucks being a mage that can't use any of their mobility magic at all.
Teleportation and stuff.
Well, like 75% of a mage's kit is mobility, and it's all useless here. So.
You should not be. We've had a whole plane without it, so yeah.
Dude,
What's
I'm
up?
so glad I'm not an Uber anymore. That can't be. My
Back
Uber
and forth.
account was canceled. I had too many negative ratings.
All right, I'll see you guys. I'm gonna go pass the fuck out.
Catch you guys next week.
Night night.
Running, man. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
All right, see you. Thanks, Midas. That was fun.
Yeah, see you next week.